Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Yeah, let's get back to Iraq because there is an interesting article that I'm sure you guys will be happy to hear. So let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Okay, so this particular article caught my attention. I'll explain. It should make you guys happy. Oil Minister, we hope to announce that Iraq's oil reserves will rise to more than 160 billion barrels. Good lordy, that is a lot of barrels. So in his speech during the activities of the launch ceremony of the 5th and 6th supplementary licensing rounds under the patronage and presence of the Prime Minister Al-Sudani, the ministry is launching today 29 promising projects within the 5th and 6th supplementary licensing rounds to start a new phase towards the advancement of industry and oil and gas wealth after the experience of 5 licensing rounds launched in 2008. He added that the Ministry of Oil achieved through licensing rounds the referral of 27 contracts for oil and gas fields to international companies that had a significant impact on production levels and government financial revenues by adding more than 2 million barrels per day of crude oil to national production. He pointed out that the 5th supplementary and the 6th rounds of licensing will include 12 governance that include investment opportunities in addition to the maritime areas of the Arabian Gulf. These projects will contribute to economic expansion and the growth of the governance in terms of providing jobs and gradually activating economic activity in the surrounding areas, which in turn will increase stability and the employment of labor and achieve the maximum use of gas reserves to meet the increasing needs of gas and electrical power generations and other industries. He stressed providing support and possible facilities to the winning companies in the development of the oil and gas fields, noting that the success in the liquidation sector, adding more than 360,000 barrels per day to national production. He expressed his hopes that Iraq oil reserves will rise in the future to more than 160 billion barrels. That's a lot, man. So what does this mean for Iraq? When Iraq increases its oil production, it can have both positive and negative effects on the Iraqi dinar. So increased revenue. Higher oil production leads to increased revenues for Iraq through oil exports. This influx of foreign currency can strengthen the country's foreign exchange reserves, which can positively impact the value of the Iraqi dinar. Exchange rate stability. A stable or increase in oil production can contribute to exchange rate stability for the Iraqi dinar. The stability is crucial for investor confidence and overall economic stability. Inflation and economic growth. A significant increase in oil production without proper economic diversification measures can lead to inflationary pressures. If the economy becomes overly reliant on oil exports, it may hinder efforts to develop other sectors, potentially leading to economic imbalances. Well, we knew that was the case before, but we know also that Iraq has invested a lot of money into projects so that there's more to rely on outside of the oil sales. Government budget and fiscal policy. Impact on the policy. Higher oil production can impact government budgeting and fiscal policy. Increased revenues from oil exports may influence government spending decisions, affecting inflation rates and overall economic performance. See, these are the types of things that I think Al-Sudani has been taking in consideration, unlike some of his members from the political party, the Coordinated Framework. They don't care about all this stuff. That's why for the past 20 years, Iraq has not been able to grow like it should. Foreign exchange reserves. With increased oil production and subsequent export earnings, Iraq's foreign exchange reserves are likely to grow. How the reserves can provide a cushion against external shocks and help stabilize the value of the Iraqi dinar. Iraq raising oil reserves means that the country has discovered or revalued its existing oil deposits to have a higher estimated quantity of oil that can be extracted. This increase in reserves signifies potential economic benefits for Iraq as it indicates a larger amount of oil available for extraction and export. With higher oil reserves, Iraq could potentially increase its revenues from oil sales, attract more investment from international companies, and strengthen its position in the global oil market. Additionally, having higher oil reserves can also enhance Iraq's energy sector and geopolitical influence. Well, in the article, you've seen that there's 26 countries that are looking to come into Iraq to help with oil and gas production and working on projects on behalf of Iraq. So the impact of Iraq's oil reserves on the IQD exchange rate. Iraq's oil reserves and exchange rate. The relationship between Iraq's oil reserves and the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar is significant. Iraq is known to have substantial oil reserves, which are a crucial component of its economy. The country heavily relies on oil exports for revenue generation, with oil constituting a major portion of its GDP. So here are the effects on the exchange rate. When Iraq raises its oil reserves or experiences growth in its oil production and exports, it can positively impact the country's overall economic outlook. Increased oil reserves can lead to higher revenues for the government, improved fiscal stability, and enhance investors' confidence in the Iraqi economy. The increase in oil reserves can potentially strengthen the Iraqi dinar against other currencies, including the United States dollar. A rise in oil production and exports can boost foreign exchange inflows into Iraq, leading to an increase in demand for the IQD. This heightens the demand to contribute to an appreciation of the Iraqi dinar relative to other countries. So these are the types of things we like to hear, but there is a slight problem. See, Iraq is not agreeing to any more oil cuts that OPEC wants. And OPEC relies on the oil cuts to stabilize the oil prices. You got to keep in mind that Iraq totally relies on oil sales to help generate the revenue that the country needs for reconstruction, to take care of its citizens, and most all of its budget. Every year in their budget, they calculate out how much oil should cost, and that's a projection. And they set that rate. If oil prices drop below that rate, it causes a deficit in the budget, which is not a good thing. The reason why OPEC wants Iraq to cut production in oil is this reason right here. So over the last month, oil prices went from $90.45 per barrel down to $82.30. That's a pretty big drop. And as you notice over the month, it continues to drop. What OPEC wants to do is cut production of oil, which increases the demand for oil since there's less of it, and it forces the price up. So OPEC had a meeting with Iraq and are not too thrilled about the fact that Iraq has not been meeting its agreed upon production reduction. The concern is if Iraq does not agree with OPEC, what kind of tensions is there going to be between the OPEC members and Iraq? Is this going to cause an issue for Iraq? If Iraq continues to produce the oil that they are producing, it can cause the markets to be saturated, causing oil prices to continue to fall, and Iraq could end up with a deficit. Now, the increase in production, of course, helps with our gas prices. Don't get me wrong, we want cheaper gas. So it makes you wonder why Iraq is not agreeing with OPEC on the production cuts. I think there has to be some type of agreement between the United States and Iraq. Since Biden is going to need help going into the election, I'm sure they want Iraq to increase production so that oil prices could drop and in return cause gas prices to go down so that he could point at gas prices and go, look what I did. I'm only speculating. I don't know for sure. But the increased production of oil could turn around and hurt Iraq. If they cause the price per barrel of oil to drop and it drops below the budgeted amount per barrel that Iraq has set aside, like I said, it could cause a deficit. But overall, if things go well and they don't drop below that projected price and they don't end up in a deficit, the increase in the reserves could definitely help to strengthen the Iraqi dinar, including against the US dollar. So when Sadani was saying they're going to have a strong economy, that they're going to have a strong dinar, this could be part of the plans that he had in mind. There's no doubt that this would definitely increase the strength of the Iraqi dinar. Does that lead to an increase in the Iraqi exchange rate? Possibly, but not necessarily. It just helps strengthen the Iraqi dinar, and a strong currency eventually leads to an increase in value. Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you later. I'm out.